What is going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about why I started the animal-based diet, what happened in my life, what intrigued me with it, and how does it impact me so much. So first, I want to start this video kind of talking about me. So I was born with cystic fibrosis. I don't usually talk about this as much on social media for the simple fact that, I don't know, I always thought like the disease kid, terminology was real, and like people would look at me different if I said I had a disease. I didn't want to be looked at differently. I didn't want people to be like, oh, I feel bad for you, right? That's a different story. But I was born with cystic fibrosis. It's a lung condition where I build up a lot of mucus in my body. But also, I don't produce enzymes that digest food naturally. So I was born with CF. I was always really healthy as a kid. I was always moving. I had great parents that nourished me and gave me real food. And I ate slop growing up, but I'll talk about that here in a little bit. So CF, okay? Yes, I grew up and I was eating healthier food. I guess we'll start with that kind of right now. Is like my parents always made sure I was well fed. They always made sure, I was eating somewhat healthy. I would always sneak around, get candy, goy slop, shit that wasn't healthy for me whatsoever. I always broke out. I always had a lot of acne on my body. And it wasn't a coincidence, right? I already had digestive problems. I was eating a lot of Sour Patch Kids, artificial foods that were not good for me, didn't have any real nutrition, just quick dopamine that, obviously fucks up your brain in a long-term format. And so that's really where I started. But then I never really cared about nutrition until about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I got in a brutal car accident, as you can see right here. My arm is pretty messed up. Let me flip the camera so I can make sure I can see this. But so you guys can see right here, I have some brutal scars right here. And yeah, so I woke up on the side of the road. I'll play the clip right here. So as you guys can see in that clip, I rolled my car 4 times. I woke up with glass in my arm, and I was millimeters away from hitting my artery, which would have killed me in minutes. And that crash story was crazy to me. It really was. And at that point in my life, I was 16 years old. I just got my car, and I really had no purpose in my life, right? I feel like a lot of the things I was doing, I didn't really know why. I was trying to impress people. I cared so much about what other people thought all the freaking time. And I was just a reckless human being at that point. I was a reckless kid. And I was driving recklessly and almost killed myself. And, there's so much that happened in that story where it divinely made a huge impact on me. And I woke up, the next day in the hospital. Well, I was awake, but they did a bunch of surgeries on me. They pretty much found that I cut my ulnar nerve. So I can't feel these 2 fingers right now. I can't feel part of my arm. Currently, it's kind of like fuzzy when I press on it. And, when I woke up in the hospital and I saw my parents that next day, it really made me think. I was like, you know what? Like, life is so much greater than what a lot of people think. Like, I could have got my life taken away that night just by me doing something stupid, crashing my car. And I was sitting there, I was like, I have to find a purpose. Like, I didn't know how I was going to bounce back. I can tell you it was mentally hard for me. Like, I was looking at myself in the mirror. I was like, Joey, what the hell just happened? I'm missing out my football season. I don't even know if I can use my arm again. If they're going to allow me to play football. And I was really just like, what the heck should I do? But you know what I really was happy about? Was the fact that my parents showed up in the hospital room. They cared about me. They were there to support me. And really, like, I realized at that moment in time that, like, no one's going to come to save me. And the only people that truly care about me and are truly here for me are my parents and my family. Obviously, my friends are here for me. They helped me a lot throughout the entire process of when I got back. I had a huge cast on my arm. I had a bunch of surgeries to repair my ulnar nerve. Obviously, my arm didn't fully regenerate, as I just said. I can't really feel these 2 fingers. I kind of knew that was going to happen because it was such a high cut on the ulnar nerve. But let's fast forward to why I started nutrition. This is the breaking point for me. This was the reason that I really was like, I need to fully go in. I found Santa Cruz Medicinals. I did. He was awesome. My dad was also into health and nutrition, so I was around that type of ideology my whole life. And I found Santa Cruz, and he just presented a different idea to me that like a lot of people in the health space never presented. The fact that you can feel amazing cognition-wise, and obviously you can have muscles, and you'll feel like an internal high from just eating real food and getting in nature. At this point, I really didn't know much about nature. I just knew a lot about eating real food and how it impacts your mental health, your muscle health, and everything in between. And at this point, I wanted to look better. I didn't like how I looked. I looked stressed. I looked just terrible in the mirror. I didn't look like the person I wanted to be. So I figured out animal-based nutrition. I started eating carnivore diet for about 2 weeks. I lost a lot of body fat. I was already pretty lean, but I just switched up my diet to something so nutrient dense and low on carbohydrates. So I lost some body fat and I started seeing progress, but I got really lean and I realized like I didn't want to be that lean. I kind of looked like I wanted a little bit of fat on me because I feel better that way. And I started doing that. I started feeling amazing. My cognition was off the roof. And at that point, it was just an upward spiral. And then I started saying, you know what? I want to post on social media. I want to start posting on social media because I'm seeing progress within myself. And I think finally now I found a passion. And that's where it really struck me. I was like, this is my passion. This is what I want to do. I love this. Like I do. Like I want to learn more. I want to learn more about the micronutrients. I want to learn more about the impacts on your brain, your eye health, your skin health. And like you start to begin to understand that you get like an internal high almost from just eating these foods. And you really start realizing that like animal-based nutrition is the way to feel amazing and to make yourself become, you know, the person that you want to be biologically. That's really what it was. And once I unlocked the biological part of what I was doing and feeding my biology and not outrunning my biology by eating a bunch of Sour Patch Kids and terrible foods, I began to feel better and just want to do things more. And I had motivation. And I was like, I'm going to get the fuck out of that hospital bed and I'm going to go do what the fuck I need to do. And that's what my honest, thought process was. I was like, this is what I need to do. I need to eat healthy food. I need to prove everybody wrong. I need to outrun everything that I thought I was going to, end up being. I thought I was going to end up being, a lazy bastard, just not having any purpose in life. But then I started saying, you know what? That's me that's saying that. Like nobody can take me away from me. The only person that can take me away from me is me. So like I started thinking, who cares what other people think? I'm going to go on this journey and I'm about 2.5 years in it now. And now I feel so much freaking better. Like I've never felt as good as I do now. And when you start worrying about like hitting those nutrients and living the way humans are supposed to live, because God gave us this beautiful earth and people think that their house is their house. You know what the house is for us? This, where I'm at right now, in the dirt, grounded, doing all these things that are going to benefit me. And the more that I started learning what, health actually really was, the more I started going on this spiral of just greatness, right? Grounding, whether it's getting in the sun daily, whether it's waking up and setting your circadian rhythm, learning more about the sun and how important the sun is for getting electrons in your mitochondrial DNA, and all these things, right? I started focusing on eating micronutrients like choline for brain development. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to IQ max. I wanted to be that person that knew everything in nutrition and really just took off on social media. I wanted to be the person that showed up to Santa Cruz as locked in. I wanted someone to appreciate me because I always felt underappreciated. And why? It was because of internal thoughts. It's internal thoughts. It wasn't because nobody appreciated me. It was because I didn't appreciate myself. I didn't understand what it meant to be a person worth value because I never put myself out there and I never did things for myself. I did things for other fucking people. And that's one of the worst fucking habits that you can ever develop in your freaking life. You have to understand that if you want to be someone worth value, you have to do things that are hard, worth value, right? Anything that is hard in the world anything that is hard in the world, it gives you value practically, right? If everyone had a six-pack, nobody would care because six-packs are hard to get. And that's just one analogy. But I fully throttled in on this animal-based nutrition. I started hitting my micronutrients. I started learning about the sun. I started learning about nature. And my mental health just went off the roof. And that's what proved the point for me. That diet is not just muscles. For all the gym bros that just talk about macros and hitting your macros is going to make you jacked. Yeah, maybe because they're pumping a bunch of TRT and they're taking a bunch of testosterone. That's why they can eat all the bullshit they want. But when you start prioritizing your hormones, your testosterone, your brain health, all these things, you start getting all these other attributes, and the more the merrier, right? The more you care about health, the more you want to do new things, the more you're going to be bettered in every single facet. And simple things like this, enjoying water, a fountain, hearing water in the background calms you down. This is one of my favorite places to go every single day, to go stream for TikTok, because it's so peaceful for me, and it's amazing. And that's really my story, guys. It's like I've been through these terrible things, or not terrible things, I would say, because they actually turned me into the human that I want to be. I think they're all lessons, right? The more you get punched in the mouth, the more you realize how to move your head, right? If you're a boxer, the more you get punched like this, the more you leave your head open, you learn to, not leave your head open, all right? Whatever the case is, right? So, that's my thing, guys. My thing was animal-based nutrition, finding peace within myself. And this video isn't really to dive deep into topics on why animal-based nutrition is so good for you. I can make many videos about that, but I want to tell my story. I want to tell you guys why. The why. What is behind me? What is behind Joey Nutrition? Who is Joey Nutrition? What is his story? And my story is this, guys. CF, almost dying in a car accident. You know, feeling like the worst version of myself, feeling I was disimportant. And I started posting on social media, I started holding myself accountable, I started making other people healthier, and I started improving other people's lives as well. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people online, or maybe even my friends, that I improved their life as well, and they probably haven't told me that, but you know, they don't need to tell me that. As long as I know internally that I'm making progress for other people and myself, I don't really care. But yeah, honestly guys, that is it. So I'll leave you guys with 4 things, okay, to improve your health, because I know it from my story and what I had to go through. So the 4 things, the one thing is get outside, getting in nature. That was one of the number 1 things that I realized that we need to start doing as humans, because the farther you get away from nature, the farther you get away from your biology, and your biology is everything, right? It's where we came from, it's who we are, right? Our DNA. And our DNA, our lineage as humans, is outside. This is where we evolved. In the last 100, 150 years, we started to get such in a modern world to the point where we're getting so far away from what humans are supposed to be and how we're supposed to live. Fluorescent lights, moving away from incandescent lights, banning incandescent lights for the energy. But I think it's just bullshit. I think the government knows the more you make someone, you know, surrounded by blue light, the less healthy they're going to be. Number 2 is going to be diet. Diet is so important because it's what your body's made out of, right? If you're eating a bunch of bullshit, polyunsaturated fats, seed oils, artificial ingredients, additives, ingredients you can't even pronounce, your body's going to be built out of nonsense, terrible food. And the worse food that you put in your body, the worse you're going to feel, and the worse your body composition is going to be, the more visceral fat you're going to hold, the more subcutaneous fat you're going to hold. You're not going to feel good, your hormones are going to decline, and you're going to just be dumb. It's how it works, guys. It really does. Those 2 things are pillars, guys. They hold everything else up. If you're going to build a skyscraper, you better build it on good foundation, because if you don't got a good foundation, the stuff on top is just going to fall. That's how it's going to happen. And number 3 is going to be sleep. Sleep is so freaking important, and I learned this after my car accident. I was so mentally, you know, dysfunctional. I didn't feel good. I didn't want to show up every day, for the simple fact that I just didn't feel good, and sleep helped me so much. It helped me recover, helped me get back to my fullest extent, and yeah, that's really what it is. Sleep is so good. It repairs your body, your muscles, everything in the body. You need sleep. Everyone prioritizes. You need sleep just to kind of boost that, right? Sleep is so freaking important. Number 4 is going to be exercise. Exercise is something that I've always done, actually, before I even got into diet and nutrition. Working out, expending your energy, doing these things that are going to benefit you in so many different types of ways. More metabolic tissue you have in the body, which is muscle, the more your mortality rate drops, right? And the better you feel, you know? And yeah, that's just how it is, right? Like, the more you exercise, the better you're going to feel, the better you're going to look, and yeah, it's going to indirectly and directly affect you in every aspect of your life. So make sure you're walking, make sure you're moving, make sure you're exercising, make sure you're doing lifting, and all those things, and you'll feel so much better. Those are the 4 things that are going to hold your skyscraper up, guys. If you don't have those 4 things, the stuff on top is going to fall. It's going to fall hard. And I know this from experience. I guess something else I should bring up is the fact that I've had multiple surgeries, right? I've had a surgery on my ankle. I have a bunch of metal and plates in there. So annoying. I wish I would have had access to like BPC 157 or, you know, red light therapy, but I didn't do that, right? I wish I would have been able to do that. But, you know, I've had a lot of surgeries. I had a surgery on this elbow. I had to get metal in here from football. I've had so many surgeries, so many setbacks, and that's turned me into the person I am today, right? Because, you know, us as humans, you know, we go through trial and triumph, but it's how many times you get punched in the mouth and how many times you bounce back. How many times you get knocked on the ground and how many times you get up. That's how I think, and that's how I move. And that's how I think about life, right? It's like, I would not be the same person I am right now if I didn't get in that car accident. So I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it, okay? I'm really not. You know, I'm happy with who I am right now, so why the hell would I care, you know? And I'm really thankful, I guess, right? I'm thankful nobody was in the car. If I would have killed someone, I would have been irate. I would never would have been able to live with myself. I probably would have been in prison. So I'm just happy where I am right now. I'm happy who I am. I'm happy what happened to me because I'm happy with who I am at this second, sitting in the grass, grounding in the sun, talking to you guys with a fucking camera in my face because I know I have a purpose. I know I have something to tell you guys. And that's my message. That's who I am. That's my story. And I hope it helped you guys in any sort of way. And so make sure to drop a subscribe. Make sure to like. Let me know what you guys thought of the video. Drop a comment. You know, let me know. Check me out on TikTok and Instagram, Joey Nutrition. Let's freaking grow together. Let's make each other healthier. Let's all grab our pitchforks and just start going in the right way.